Good morning. Happy Thursday. Welcome to Ask the Shaman. I'm your host, Anthony Golden Sunshine. Welcome to the channel that's dedicated to help you find answers. Health, wellness, mindset. These are all the things we kind of explore here. Spirituality, shamanism, all wonderful things. We even talked about religion the other day. And if you didn't catch it last night, Don Zeno and myself were on a live stream where we talked about the Inca religion, which was really, really interesting. I really, really enjoyed it. Today, what I plan on talking about is vagal tone. Vagal tone. Is anybody familiar with the vagus nerve or vagal tone? That's what we're going to explore today. Let's see what's going on. If you're just coming in, drop in, say good morning. Share the video if you can. Good morning, Brianna. Welcome. So vagal tone, that's something I usually talk a lot about, because in the teachings that I provide people and in the healing mechanics that I generally teach people, the vagus nerve is a very important tool. Okay, so the vagus nerve is the 10th cranial nerve. There's 12, like 12 disciples, 10 cranial nerves. And this nerve is connected to all your major organ systems, including your heart. And improving the flow of information and energy in this nerve is precisely what's talked about when we're talking about heart-brain coherence. That's when the heart and the brain begin to communicate through that nervous system efficiently. For most people, it's inefficient. And the reason being is mostly because of the way our society has geared us to seek comfort. So by seeking comfort, by having too comfortable of a life, actually leads to your illness. Okay. It actually leads into your being ill. So there's different things one can do to improve the vagus nerve, the vagal tone. Vagal tone meaning the frequency that moves in that vagus nerve between the brain and the organs. One of the primary tools for that is diaphragmatic breathing. And that's why breathing is so important and why I teach it. I don't know if many people really understand the true power of your diaphragm and your breathing, particularly on your physiology and your nervous system. There's so much that happens when you move into that diaphragmatic breath and start moving first the fluids of the body. You know, you're 65 to 70% water. And that fluid can become stagnant, especially if you have a stagnant life. And if you have a lot of anxiety or stress. Anxiety or stress puts us in a parasympathetic a sympathetic dominant state, meaning a consistent fight or flight mode. And being in that consistent fight or flight mode, that leads to illness because the body is cut off from its ability to heal because we're in a defense or protection mode. So one of the most powerful things about getting in touch with your breath and your diaphragm is your ability to begin to control your state. You can actually shift yourself from that sympathetic dominant state, that fight or flight mode, and shift yourself over into a parasympathetic dominant state. So the sympathetic and the parasympathetic states are two halves of the autonomic nervous system. the automatically controlled nervous system. Well, even though it automatically controls things, you can influence its control from the top down by one, accessing your breath. As soon as you start to elongate exhales, okay, so there's many different breath patterns, okay, and many different styles of breath work, okay. There's as many as there is diets. Some are very effective, some less effective. They all affect the nervous system in a different way. The idea when you're trying to move into a healing mindset or into a healing physiology is to extend your exhales, taking in full breaths using your belly and your chest like a wave. So you're making sure as you're breathing in that your belly puffs out. 99%. Now, I've worked with thousands and thousands of people all over the world. And what I can tell you is I would say more than 9 out of 10 people have what's called an inverted breathing pattern. And you may be asking, what is an inverted breathing pattern and how do I know if I have one? Well, what you do is you don't use any other ideas except for you take in a big breath. You breathe in as big and fast as you can. And what you do is you pay attention to where the air went. And you release. So when you took in that big breath, where'd all the air go? So did your tummy suck in and your chest and shoulders grow? That's what 9 out of 10 people do when you tell them to take a deep breath. They go like this. The tummy sucks in and the chest and shoulders grow. That's an inverted breathing pattern. That's not using your diaphragm. So what we have to do is begin to retrain the nervous system to breathe in a new way. So that's usually putting the hand, I use one, sometimes two hands on the belly or on my side ribs. And what I'm doing is I'm using my mind and its intention to where my hands are to fill that up with air. So it's difficult for some people. Some people, they have a really hard time getting that diaphragm to move. This is usually due to the more anxious you are, the harder it is for you to break out of the anxiety breath pattern because it just feels normal. Okay. But putting your hands on your tummy brings your awareness somewhere else. So you can try this with me right now. Bring your hands down to your tummy. Close your eyes. Feel your hands on your stomach, just below your rib cage. And now your intention is going to be to begin to breathe in slowly through the nose. But as you breathe in, fill up your belly first, not even the chest at all, really, just the belly. Try not to fill up the chest and blow it away through pursed lips. Now, that's your first step, learning how to use that diaphragm. And you'll practice that for a while. Then after that, you start to focus more on it being like a wave, okay? Because the idea is to wave the energy up the body when it comes to increasing vagal tone. So I'll start breathing. I'll start at the belly and I'll move it up into the chest and into the collarbones. So then it's like a wave. It goes. And then usually what I do is if I'm trying to calm the body, sighing exhale, and extend your exhale. So an elongated exhale tells the body that I'm safe. Okay. It's a safety. It's saying I'm safe. If you can have that long sighing exhale, I'm safe. And you're breathing in a circular pattern, belly, chest, right back in. Long exhale. Belly, chest. And then that's the first part. Then I go deeper. Then I start telling you, use your mind's eye and disciplined imagination. Start from the tailbone and move the air and energy all the way up to your scalp. Okay. And I start off first with my mind's eye and disciplined imagination. And I picture that. I picture myself breathing and filling myself up, seeing the air as light. And as I breathe in, it starts in the tailbone and fills up to my scalp. And then I do some breaths that way. All the way to the top. As I exhale, I let it all fall back down into the tailbone, then back up. Back up. Once more. And then you'll notice you feel a lot different. You're already starting to shift. You'll feel lighter, sometimes tingly and lightheaded, more so when it's new for you. As you practice, that feeling kind of subsides and it's more of a vibrational shift. You can feel your consciousness actually shift. So when it comes to the vagus nerve, I'll just talk about vagal tone now. So the vagus nerve. Vagal tone refers to activity of the vagus nerve. So the activity of the vagus nerve is considered or measured in vagal tone. So the vagus nerve is the 10th cranial nerve and key component of the parasympathetic nervous system. So this is the key component to that parasympathetic nervous system. That's why when you're breathing, you're also massaging the organs with your breath, especially when you use the diaphragm. And then you're also sending electrical current up through the vagus nerve and into the brain. Okay. The parasympathetic nervous system is often described as the rest and digest system, and it helps to regulate many internal organs and control functions such as heart rate, digestion, and respiratory rate. So what happens is as you do this breath work, you're actually making your body more intelligent. You're improving its intelligence because what's happening is you're getting all of the electrical signals and channels in your body beginning to operate and function. And as you practice, you make a lot of progress. It starts to progress and become even more so. A high vagal tone is associated with a stronger ability of the body to relax after stress. So also having a high vagal tone, practicing this allows you the ability, it extends to you the ability to recover from a stressful event. So, something can pop up and it challenges you, and it might take you, it used to take me a long time to let go because of that resonant energy that's trapped in the vagus nerve. It doesn't know how to release. Okay. So now I may be challenged. Something might happen. I talk about this one a lot lately because that's when it stands out. I dropped a plant and the plant, it didn't die, but it knocked a bunch of dirt out. But I got frustrated for a second. I found myself very frustrated and angry about it. I got stressed out for a second. And then I was able quickly to calm down. I became aware. Through all my practice, I've taught myself over and over to become less and less reactive, which is a big deal for me because where I came from, I was highly reactive. I was born into and raised in a household with very reactive people. And that's just kind of how it was. I just thought that was normal. Like, this is how I am. I'm reactive. I thought maybe it was even a good thing. But somehow I trained my mind to think that being reactive, it helped me to survive, right? But that's not really true. Actually, that reaction and being stuck in that reaction time is the sympathetic nervous system firing and actually trapping me in a space of anxiety. Okay. And a lot of us, that can get stuck for a long time. I used to be mad about things for days, weeks. I was mad about things for a long time, holding on to emotion. When emotion is energy, emotion, energy and motion. The thing is you got to get that energy and motion. Otherwise it becomes stagnant and then it becomes a problem. So like I said, a high vagal tone is associated with a stronger ability of the body to relax after stress. This is reflected in a more variable heart rate, okay, which is a sign of a healthy heart. Which sign of healthy heart function and effective stress response system. On the other hand, a low vagal tone, a low tone, is associated with inflammation, depression, and negative mood states. Okay. So again, that's why I teach what I teach. A lot of people don't understand what I'm doing. They think this guy just breathes and blah, 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 blah. But what I'm doing out here is I'm effectively trying to get other human beings to react and connect into that vagus nerve. If you can begin to make friends or connection with your nervous system, your whole reality changes. Now, I know a lot about this because of where I came from. Okay. I had severe respiratory disease that really limited my breathing, and that made all the symptoms of the parasympathetic and sympathetic nervous system imbalance worse. I spent more and more time in a fight or flight mode. So I got to have a lot of experience. Now, I'm not the guy that tells you that whatever happened to me was bad. That was just right, because that gets me here to share information with the world, right? because if more of us can get this kind of knowledge, this deep knowledge of our body, of our nervous system, and of our mind, we can begin to make very vast changes from within. Okay, and that's how we create a new world. Everybody wants to create a new world, but few understand that you create your world. You're creating a world from within you, from within. But by beginning to connect with that vagus nerve and improving vagal tone, we change our entire life. So I'm going to read that section again, okay? A high vagal tone, increasing your vagal tone, okay, is associated with a stronger ability of the body to relax after stress. So that means after a stressful event, if you have better control of your vagus nerve and your autonomy, you can begin to control your state. Okay. This doesn't mean that you don't have pain. Okay. Pain is inevitable. Suffering is often a choice. Okay. So by doing something as simple as spending time every day, priming your nervous system with your breath, you're moving all the blood, lymph, cerebral spinal fluid, and attenuating frequency of the vagal nerve up to the brain. Now, there's other things one can do to improve vagal tone. So far, I haven't found anything more powerful or complete than daily breathing. I do many other things. Speaking of which, I have a brand new video out. There's a brand new video that I just put out yesterday. It premiered yesterday on YouTube at 3:30 p.m. And it's breath and movement. It's a nervous system reset. Okay, it's pretty fun. It's similar to some of the work I do in my mini retreats with others. Okay. Hi, Cassandra. You spelled my name wrong. It's S-O-N because I'm the son of the sun. But thank you. Good morning, Mr. Sunshine. They used to call me that in high school. When I was in ninth grade, I lived in a different school district. And there was a group of girls in my science class, and they used to call me Mr. Sunshine. And then, it's because they told me, they were like, you're really cute, but you're very quiet. Could you imagine that? Me quiet? Yeah, I didn't talk too much for a long time, actually, in high school. Apologies. You don't need to apologize. I'm just joking with you. Sunshine. Today, we're talking about the vagus nerve and how powerful and important it is to tone your vagus nerve. So a high vagal tone is associated with a stronger ability of the body to relax after stress. Big one, right? Who doesn't want to be able to relax after a stressful event? Even like, say, a near collision on the road. Say you're driving down the road and there's a near collision. You're going to have a fight or flight response because there's a reaction that needs to happen. For some people, that stays sustained for a long time and they can't get rid of that. When you have a strong vagal tone, you can calm yourself quite quickly. This is like the same thing they do with like fighter pilots and Navy SEALs and other elite kinds of jobs in the world that require you to find your calm or maintain your calm. They specifically select people that already have a natural connection to their vagus nerve, and then they help them to develop that. There's a lot of things one can do. Meditation also can help. But the thing is the physical action of moving that vagus nerve and moving fluid up into your brain. Because the second thing about breathing is one is that vagus nerve interaction. The second thing is how much fluid is put into the brain. Blood, lymph, cerebral spinal fluid being pushed into the hypothalamus, being pushed into the pineal gland. This is what in Vedic terms or the Buddhist religion is Kundalini. You're rising the frequency. You're taking the energy of the spine and connecting it to the brain, creating a vertical column of energy. It's always there, okay? You don't have to build this column. It already exists. What we have to do is tune it like an instrument. So the variable heart rate, on the other hand, a low vagal tone. So if your vagal tone is low, which most people's are, especially here in the Western world, because they're not doing anything to improve it. We stay in a sympathetic dominant state most of the time. Worry, fight or flight, trying to control an outcome. Control, I must know what's happening. It's okay that you don't know. But the low vagal tone is associated with inflammation. I have plenty of that. Depression, I have plenty of that. And negative mood states, I have plenty of that. Not anymore. Okay. So let's talk about how they measure vagal tone. Okay. Vagal tone is often measured indirectly through heart rate variability. That's called HRV. Has anyone ever heard of HRV? Let's run out here. By the way, questions are wide open. I came in today with a subject just to share because this is something I'm really big into. And this has a lot to do with some of the new work I'm doing. I'm doing more work at the corporate level for people to become more connected into their nervous system, to be happier, stronger, more productive people. And this is some of that teaching I'm sharing with you. Let's see. Tommy says, morning, guys. I highly recommend checking out the SOAR show from last night with Zane and Anthony. Very deep dive into the Inca culture and spiritual belief. Oh, yeah, we had a good time last night. We went over 2 hours talking about all these different aspects of the Inca religion. And there's just so much. There's more. We could go probably a few more hours last night. Brianna says, SOAR was amazing. It was. All right, so back to vagal tone. So vagal tone is often measured indirectly through heart rate variability, HRV. So I recommend looking that up. You should make that term something that you study, okay, today. Vagal tone, vagus nerve, HRV. Do your own research, okay? Besides what I'm telling you, there's a lot more besides this, okay? I'm just giving you like an overview. HRV is the physiological phenomenon of variation in time in the time interval between heartbeats. Okay, so let's look at that for a second. HRV is the physiological phenomenon of variation in the time interval between heartbeats. So that time, that gap in between heartbeats. And it is influenced by the autonomic nervous system. Okay. An HRV indicative of a higher vagal tone. So a higher heart rate variability, meaning the heart knows how to beat in different patterns. That's an indication of a higher vagal tone, suggests a healthier balance between the sympathetic and parasympathetic responses of the nervous system. Okay, because your nervous system communicates to the heart. Okay, and I'll talk more about HRV in a moment. In summary, about the vagal tone. Vagal tone is a critical aspect of the body's heart rate and stress response systems. It plays a significant role in physical and psychological health, affecting relaxation, stress levels, and general well-being. Right. So the vagal tone is a critical aspect of the body's heart rate and stress response system. So that's how important your vagus nerve is in the vagal tone. Okay. HRV, and we'll talk about that in a second. We'll talk about what is HRV and what does that really mean? What is heart rate variability? Tom says in bomb disposal training in 1971, they may not have understood the nerve connection, but between successful training, live explosives, and academics, we went from 48 guys in our class to 22 graduating. They know now, no doubt about it. And they probably knew, they've known, there has been a knowledge of the nervous system and how it works for a very long time. It's kind of hidden from our knowledge. So I would say before that time, during the Nazi era, it really became aware of how our nervous system works, how frequency works with the nervous system, how frequency can affect your mind and vibration can affect your mind. And so there was definitely knowledge. They just might not have explained it to you that way. They probably had you do some things, though, that helped you to balance that nervous system. Nowadays, they're very aware. There's actually tons of training. I've watched and learned a lot about how like CIA agents are trained and things like that, field agents, because our government actually even uses psychics and things. They use remote readers and things to be able to see things, people that can have remote viewing, that can see things. So there's some people that have the ability, if you give them a piece of clothing, an article of clothing, they can kind of track down these lines of information and see things and find things, because everything is part of a web of life of information. Everything has a connection. So I can kind of do things like that through pictures. I can take pictures and then explore off the energy of the picture. I can touch certain things like wood tables and things like that. It seems to be wood. If I touch anything that's made out of like a wooden table, I can become aware of like an energy of the people that made it. I can even become aware of the tree it was before it became a table, and so on and so forth. That's something that will continually develop, but there are some people that have developed a really good skill or have a natural skill that has been developed in that area. And that's how they help them use it as one, vagal tone, connecting the vagal tone. Two is hemispherical syncing the left and right hemispheres of the brain. And I'll talk about that some other day. That's a whole nother can of worms that we can open. But something I'm really big about practicing is hemispherical syncing of the brain. All right. HRV stands for heart rate variability. Okay. It refers to the variation in time intervals between the heartbeats. Contrary to what some might think, a healthy heart does not beat with a perfectly regular rhythm. Rather, there is natural variation in the time between beats. Okay. So do you understand that? Like that essentially what it's saying is a healthy heart does not beat with a perfectly regular rhythm. There's a natural variation in between beats. That there's supposed to be a natural variation that's controlled by the vagus nerve in the brain. That's coherence of the body. A non-coherent body, that's how they're measuring heart rate variability, has a steady heartbeat. Or something happens and it rises and it stays risen for a period of time. It takes a long time for it to come back. Okay. Sometimes even reaction is shortened. There's a few different ways that can show up. So this variability is influenced by the autonomic nervous system. So there we go back to how is heart rate variability influenced through your autonomic nervous system. Okay. Which regulates bodily functions like heart rate, digestion, and respiratory rate. So that aligns completely with the teachings I give everyone. Is your breath will do amazing things for your nervous system to take you out of the fight or flight mode into the rest and digest mode. Once you switch that mode, there's also some other things that happen, which we're not talking about here. Brainwave frequencies begin to change. The way you're interacting with reality begins to change. But by being able to get control of your state, this can move you from being in a defense mechanism to being in a healing mechanism. Now your body can heal. Your heart rate's moving in a good way. Your digestion's moving. Your respiratory rate has changed. That's why we have to be very diligent in daily practice of our breathing. And, it's not just sitting down to do the breathwork practice. That primes the system. That teaches the system how to move air. The more important part even is your awareness of your breath throughout the day, throughout whatever you're doing, especially if you're doing something that brings you stress, like work. Lots of people, they work. I've sat with people and, they'll ask me to kind of monitor them. Some of the training I do for people is they'll hire me to sit with them for the day. And I'm kind of like their shadow. So I watch what they do and I'm picking up on their energy. And I'm just watching these, just going through a normal day. I'm watching the decisions. And then I'll watch someone, may sit down and they're doing work from home on their computer. They start to get stressed. And then I'll see them, they start to chew their lips. They start to breathe really shallow. I can see them, or they're holding their breath while they're reading and their eyes are locked in this forward position. And I can just sense, I can feel that whole nervous system is being shut down. We spend so much time here. That's why it's also a beautiful thing to get outside, locomotion of the body, breathing, even if it's cold outside. And then also being present, looking around you. So you're moving those eyes, that those begin to, because there's lots of other exercises we can do to hit those other 11 cranial nerves. Like even you'll see me do things like stretch my face. There's a bunch of nervous system there that's not normally being used when you do that. Eyes, and then looking. So this is EMDR, eye movement desensitization. By using your eyes more, you're using more of the nervous system. Okay. And then use your breath on top of that, even more is happening. So your better HRV is better for your overall health. And they've also been able to link that to longevity, to having a longer life. Of course, you have less stress, you're going to live longer, right? I'd say that's kind of easy to understand. Okay, so HRV is an important metric in assessing the balance between the sympathetic fight or flight mode and parasympathetic rest and digest nervous system. Okay, balance. A higher HRV typically indicates a healthy heart and a greater ability to adapt to stress, while a lower HRV can be a sign of stress, fatigue, or underlying health issues. It is commonly used by athletes to optimize training and recovery, and increasingly by individuals monitoring their overall health and wellness. Okay. So that is my little dissertation, my little TED talk about the vagus nerve. I'm open now for questions, comments, concerns. Let's open the floor and see if anyone has anything they'd like to share. Maybe their personal experiences or something, or maybe you don't even have to have a question that's on this particular subject. You got something going on in your life. Let's talk about life. They knew something then. Yeah, they sure did. They've known a lot for a long time. And when we say they, we mean the governments of the world. Because people are like, who is they? The governments of the world. I'm not saying they're separate from me in any way. I am all things. I had a new loud ring in my ear, right ear. It was buzzing. And when I started breathing and buzzing, sound got louder. Okay, bring it in. That's normal. We talk about that a lot. That's something I should probably do a little talk on is tinnitus. I'll probably do a video about it because there's so many more people now that are showing up and they're becoming aware of their ringing ears. Those are the trumpets of heaven. That's what they are. Now, I'm not going to say that some people don't have hearing problem or hearing loss. I had that too. So I had pretty bad hearing loss for a long time until I started to change my lifestyle. And when I started to change my lifestyle, I started to be able to hear again. And my hearing came back. My hearing was pretty bad. It was to a point where I was reading lips and was a normal kind of response, like I wouldn't be able to get enough of the information from people. But you can begin to improve that. The tinnitus, the thing people are calling tinnitus often, and I can tell you in my experience, I have vast experience now working with people around the world, is very more often than not, it's spiritual communication or electrical kinds of communication happening with the pineal gland and the nervous system. It's just we haven't learned how to give it the attention it needs. So all it is for some people a distraction. So they're saying, I want this to stop. But it's not sense. So they'll take medications, do all kinds of things to try to mute the frequency, but that's not what's meant to happen. I even had a client once that went as far as having surgery to the inner ear to try to alleviate this. What a doctor, a spiritually numb. You got to remember, you go see a doctor, 9 out of 10 or better times, this is a spiritually numb individual that doesn't understand ascension or spiritual awakening. Okay. They're just there to diagnose your symptoms. My symptom is, doc, I have ringing in my ears. I feel this ringing or hear this ringing, and I don't know what to do with it. So the doctor goes, we got something wrong with your inner ear. We're going to first try to give you this medication. And so for this particular person, our medication didn't work. They ended up having a surgery where they did something to the inner ear to try to stop this. Guess what? Not only didn't it stop, it got louder because it's not in the ear. It's happening in the pineal gland, and the reverberation's happening from the inside out. So the key to ear ringing is sitting with it, slowing your breath down and not trying to escape it, talk about it, judge it, go into it. And people say, what do you mean go into it? I mean that. And that's where the practice is, because you don't just know how to do that because no one's ever taught you that. And you never tried that before. Sitting down. Same thing when you're sick. Same thing when you're sad. Same thing when there's pain. Same thing when you have a headache. Don't run. Go into it. Go into it. Know it. You got to feel it to heal it. You got to go into it to know it. Okay? Let's see. Hi, and Hills. Can a person develop the skill of psychic abilities even if they aren't born with them? Well, we're all born with them. That's the thing. So don't fool yourself. We all have psychic abilities. Now, some people's open naturally. Mine open naturally. Okay, my abilities for energy and psychic connection and awareness of spirit and frequency around me, mine happen naturally. But not just without doing anything. Unbeknownst to me, when I first started doing breath work, I started using my breath. This is when I had terminal lung disease. And I was doing it just to comfort my body and try to get more oxygen into my body. Little did I know that these things like I was talking about, the vagus nerve, blood, lymph, cerebral spinal fluid into the brain, that began to heal my brain. And as my brain began to heal, the way I seen the world began to heal and change. And my frequency, I started to change my nervous system, like we were just saying, changing, coming out of that sympathetic dominant state into the parasympathetic dominant state. When you're in a sympathetic dominant state and you're worried all the time, you're tunnel vision, and you're only thinking about here and now, that this very moment, or you're worrying about outcomes. You're totally focused. And that's not good to be all the time. It has its place. That's not where you're meant to be all the time. In a parasympathetic mode, we can open ourselves and then begin to have experience of the actual world or reality around us. So yes, I help people to develop those gifts. The people that usually come to me are people who are gifted people and are ready to expand that gift. So yeah, it's a long story to talk about there. But yes, all human beings have what we would, so psychic is some idea that, TV has given people. Psychic, like I can read your mind and I know where everything is. That's not what psychic is. Psychic is the ability to pick up information energy. Another way is intuition or empath. That's what a lot of people confuse empath with the truth of empath. Some people think empath is being analytical. I read your body language and this and that. That's being analytical. That's a big mistake. There's lots of, because it's the trendy word now. Everyone wants to be an empath. Doesn't mean you are. Okay. That's the thing. And that needs to be developed. And if you are empathic, you have to develop that. Otherwise, you're going to always feel like everyone else's energy is eating you up when it isn't theirs. That's the frequency that's vibrating with the unhealed parts of you. So I see this all the time over and over too. I see it all the time over and over. Empaths are, you got to protect your energy. From what? It's all yours. The thing that you're doing is you're actually hiding from the unresolved parts of your emotion, blaming it. The ego loves to externalize. It's your fault I'm mad. You're making me mad or upsetting me or making me feel bad. You can't. That happens inside, right? Let's see, Cassandra. When I hear the ringing frequencies, I ask, what are you trying to tell me? And usually a telepathic or inner knowing comes up and answers a question that has been on my mind about whatever situation I'm working through. It's such a gift. Good. Yeah, that's how it started for me too. I didn't really have to ask in any verbal sense. I just was open to receive it. Now, if you keep working with it diligently and you're trained properly, what will happen is the ringing changes into a different vibrational frequency. And that different vibrational frequency, as you train with it and begin to know it, becomes a language. And you'll start to be able to read, understand, and communicate back. You'll be able to create your own outgoing frequency, because some of it's incoming, some of it's the frequency within your own nervous system. But this takes a lot of practice to find that discernment to know what it is. But as we become aware it's a language, then we really can open the gift. Thank you, Cassandra. They live monitor my heart rate at cardio rehab 3 times a week. I have a lot of false peaks due to the electrical damage to the heart. They are much better now, but come back when I eat bad food. Well, that tells you something, right? It's your symptoms tell you where you need to make the change. So what I would say, Tom, is pay attention to those symptoms, which are messengers, and let them help you. And then, of course, to help, you can, whatever the damage is to the heart can be rebuilt. I don't care what cardiologists say or doctors say. They have these ideas that have been grafted upon them through, one, their experience of other sick people, into a curriculum, okay? That doesn't make it true. All human beings have the ability to regenerate. You can regenerate the cells of your body, okay? I'm living proof, okay? I've changed the cells of my body, and we all can do that. So, and I know you're making progress, Tom. That's a beautiful thing. And what you'll want to do is continue. Don't stop. Take time. Picture your heart, big light, breathe into it. Ask and draw health into your heart and into you. It can heal, but you have to imagine and picture it. What does Tom's life look like with a healthier heart than he's ever had? What would you feel like if you had this perfectly functioning heart? That is how you manifest it. You must first envision it, and envision it perfectly, so that way you can feel it as if it's now. And this goes into the manifestation. I do manifestation classes every week. Maybe you'll get in one of those, Tom. I'd love to see you there. Had ringing in my ears for years. Sometimes it's a message to me. It's always a message. It's just the concept mind is, the thing that's trying to figure it out. It's only 5% of your brain. Until we get a connection into the subconscious mind, there's really no way for one to decipher consistently what the message is. I still can't consistently decipher what the message is, because not all that information is for Anthony. Anthony is the personality. It's not who you actually are. It's a personality. That's your ego mind. It's who you think you are. It's an identity that's been arisen from past experience and conditioning. Who we really are is far beyond there. But as we become more sensitive, you're becoming sensitive, frequency sensitive. You can pick up frequencies that are coming in. I can hear other people's ringing. When I'm sitting around other people, or if I'm sitting, even if it's distance, even if because distance is illusory, energy is everywhere all the time. When I'm sitting with someone in session, I can pick up on their frequency. That's how I do the things I do and know the things I don't know. People ask me, how do you know? How do you feel that? How do you do that? I can read and connect to your frequency. Your body's electrical system has a ringing or a frequency that I'm very keen to. And anywhere that there's a sound that's out of pitch or sounds off, I become aware right away that's where a blockage is in your body. When I run my hands around people's energy field and feel them, I'll feel right away where there's tonal differences, because everything's music. Yeah. So glad to be here. Thank you. I needed this. Thank you, Soulful Empath. So true. No pizza. I know. I'm sorry, man. Not if you want to keep going in a good direction. I love pizza too, man. I eat it at least once a week, but I try to eat really well the other days. I think cheat days are okay, As you know, I went from 25% heart function and in danger to 55 in 11 months. This is amazing. On October 22nd, I was told I had 50% chance of being alive in a year. And here you are. Boy. But I've known since the beginning, Tom, that not only do you survive, you thrive. You're doing great, Tom. Wow. There's so many beautiful success stories in our community. You know what I mean? Like, that's what I love to see. I love to see all these people growing. Yes, tuning into the radio station or music of others. I understand that. Yeah. That is what true empathy is, okay? That's where scrap everything else that the third dimension teachers and people that don't actually understand energy or empathy do. True empathic ability is the ability to feel someone else's frequency, which is feelings. Not only am I aware of your feelings, I feel them. I can feel you. What I don't do is internalize them and make them mine. So for some people who are empaths, we pick up on someone else's frequency and they're in a lot of pain. What happens is we internalize it and it vibrates with the parts of us that are unhealed. And now we're having pain. And so our first reaction is, I got to get away from so-and-so because their pain is hurting me. When in reality, that is a gift. It's showing you where you're not free. Okay. So that's the whole thing. It's the idea is, and if you have unhealed parts that you can't handle yet, and you're an empath, you have to be very careful not to absorb the other person's energy. You can still read it, sample it, taste it. What you don't want to do is internalize it, because then what happens is now there's two people that are in distress. And we see this happen all the time because all human beings have an empathic natural ability. Now, some people it's more shut off because of the burying and the emotional traumas and things. Some people it's naturally more open. Okay. But everyone has an ability. You can feel things. Everyone has an ability to feel things. Most people don't understand that in any sort of way. They haven't been trained or taken the time or understand, or things been explained to for how you can begin to develop that informational energy. But that is true empathic capability, is when I can sit down and not only can I understand you, I can feel how your emotions feel for you. and I can feel your body sensations. That's another weird thing. When I first started to be able to feel other people's body sensations, I was a little bit creeped out because you can feel things, like you can feel stuff. You can feel where there's pain in their body. You can feel, sometimes I can feel someone's holding something. I can feel it as if it's in my hand. That's pretty intense. And at first it feels a little bit creepy because the mind has some sort of idea there's separation. But whatever you're holding, I'm holding because we're the same thing. And people have a hard time with that because that's quantum physics. That's beginning to be explained. The ancients always knew, the mystics always knew that this is all a field of living energy without separation. We're all dots of consciousness having separate awarenesses of this place, of this universe, but not separate from the one. It's like fingers on the hand. Each finger is having a different experience. If I touch something, touching in a different way, in a different place, but all the information comes back into the one. Same for us. We're fingers on the hands of God, having experience as lifetimes. And we're Tom, and we're Cassandra, and we're Brianna, and so on and so forth. But yes, tuning into the radio station, you can also do this. If someone's having a hard time, sometimes when I talk to them, I'll have them breathe a little and I'll say, let's retune your station. And I'll kind of reach into the energy field with my intention, and we can kind of make a little tuning change, and then they'll snap out of some things. People get really amazed at those kinds of things. I just love energy healing. It's my favorite thing to do. And I'm going to keep doing it and do more of it. I've been doing so much mindset work in the last year that it kind of pulled me away from my energy ability. And my energy ability is probably what my most profound gift is. So I'm going to kind of lean more into that, but I'm going to still keep being a teacher, a mental mind kind of teacher, but I like to teach from the heart. I love being a teacher, but I'm also a teacher beyond the conventional sense. I teach from a frequency vibration type of way. I love it. Please excuse me. Hi, Lisa. Lisa Holland Bowles. Good morning from rainy San Francisco. Raining over there in San Fran, huh? It's not bad here today, I don't think. Probably colder than San Fran, though. I love California. I've yet to be to San Francisco. So when we come there, Lisa, let's connect. Let's meet. I would like to do an event there or something. The energy from group is strong. Sure is. I felt other people through my Koshko for years as a child, drank to not feel when I became older. So I can totally relate with that. I've been very, very sensitive my whole life. I was taught from a very young age that I wasn't allowed to be sensitive. I grew up in a home where having emotions would typically get me beaten. So it taught me not to shut off my Koshko, to shut off my belly. And then that led to a lot of despair and pain. And that despair and pain is what I really started to drink a lot to escape, was the pain. And then Mary showed up in my life. Then my wonderful wife showed up, and she has a huge open heart. And she was so helpful in helping me to begin to heal and open up my Munai. Munai is love and will in our tradition. Munai is the center of your energy and the most powerful part of your energy field. The other two parts of your energy are your Yankai, that's your physical being, and your Yachai, that's your psychological, mental being. So when you put all these three things together, which I've learned to do and harmonize them, this begins to open up your gifts. And then your gifts begin to open. And the next thing you know is you're sharing it with the world. As I'm sitting here with you all, sharing with you all this beautiful information about the vagus nerve. And these are all wonderful things that all human beings really need to know. If more human beings understood how their vagus nerve worked and how their breath affected it, do you think they'd change? I think so. We need to get this information out into the world. So please share this video, share this out, share the information with the world, share what we're doing. And if you can, make a donation, because that helps us reach more people. I really just want to take a moment to thank you. Thank you, Cassandra. My past resistance to your healing has been such a teacher for many. It has made me aware of my projecting and wounds. I know I've been hot and cold, but I also know that it's all me, and I'm just grateful for your presence in this life. Thank you, dear. Truly, soul grateful. You've opened my eyes to so much more than I knew was possible. Thank you so much. I see, talking about frequency, I feel that. I can feel that. So what I feel is I feel your love. And I send it whoosh, back to you. Thank you. May we share that connection and that love. Ooh, I feel so good. I'm about to cry. Feels so good. Woo. Hair standing up all over. Thank you, Cassandra. Yeah, I talk about that, and I'm trying to break that. You know what I mean? Like, I don't purposefully aim to like trigger people. The thing is just my communication is often so precise and concise and on the money that it can appear to the fragile parts of the mind as if it's aggressive, which I'm not aggressive. I'm not here to be aggressive with anybody. But the thing is I do want people to see their truth. And sometimes that requires me to trigger someone. Okay, that requires a trigger because healing is triggering. One of two things happen to heal. The vast majority of people I work with, I trigger them in a way that brings new insight and potential and possibility to them. That's their trigger. The trigger of the healing is something I couldn't see or understand before. The other trigger is resistance. Shit, I don't want to agree to that. It's usually a disagreement within the being. I'm not triggering, I'm not putting them down or anything. I'm just saying something that's really straightforward and open for that person to look at. And the ego mind does not want to see itself, and it will resist. And when it resists, it gets angry. So what will happen is a triggering. And what I do is I just back off. I just leave it alone. Okay, well, now that you're triggered, that's the medicine. Because that's something at first I couldn't understand. I just thought, like, what is wrong? Why am I so bad to people? How come some people get so mad at me? And I was really confused. And then my spiritual guidance started to tell me, hey, that's how it is. It's your heart that matters. Are you coming from your heart? Good. Some people are going to be triggered. You're going to have to accept that. Jesus triggered people too, and does. And then, talking with other teachers, other healers around the world and things, I made a lot of friends. And I just come to understand that that's how it is. Healing works both ways. It can work in a trigger that feels good. It can work in a trigger that feels unpleasant, because sometimes it's that trigger of unpleasantness that begins the person on a journey of thinking in a new way. New awarenesses begin to rise. And it's very common for me to get emails and messages where people that I may have triggered a while back say, hey, you know what? You really used to trigger the shit out of me, but now I understand what you're doing. I get it. Thank you so much. I'm like, thank you so much. Because I know when I'm coming from my heart, I'm coming from my heart, and I want to help people change and grow. That's my primary drive. I do, however, have been working more and more on my language so that way I'm less triggering. Maybe I'm not just in the space where like, that's just how it is. That's not how it works for me. I'm always trying to improve. I want to be a better person. I want to be a better teacher. I want to be a better priest. I want to be a better holistic transformation specialist. That is how I help people, is getting better. I want to consistently improve. So I work with that. I work with that often to try to improve how I exchange information. Because maybe I don't, I always am like, I don't really want to trigger people. But if it happens, I accept it because I know where my heart's at. My heart isn't in the place where like, you know what, I'm going to trigger this son of a bitch. That's not what happens. Sometimes my spiritual guidance tells me to say things that I'm like, I got to say that. Are you sure? And my spiritual guide's like, yep, that's exactly what they need. I'm like, oh. And then I have to say something or write something or type something that I know is going to be triggering to the person. They're going to be pissed at me, and it's not going to make me feel good about myself, But then that shows me about me, because then that means that I'm placing, because if from my heart, I'm doing the best I can and someone becomes triggered and I take it personally, that means that I have to work on me, because now that's an awareness, because my awareness has grown to, I used to always externalize my validation, look outside of me. If so-and-so's triggered, I must not be a very good teacher, until so-and-so comes back and then says, thank you so much for what you've done for me. Then it started to make more sense. But this goes for everybody. Try not to trigger people, okay? Try to come from love. But sometimes you have to understand that if you're out here and you're planting seeds If your work and you're called into the world to try to help change the world, as I have been called to change into the world, I'm going to piss some people off. I'm okay with that. Okay. I'm totally okay with that. It's not up to me if you like me. That's up to you. Because if you don't like me or you have a problem with me, that doesn't really have anything to do with me. It has to do with you. Right. And I love you, however that is, whoever you are, whatever you're doing. I love you just the way you are. I'm not saying you have to change anything. I'm saying if you want to change, I'm here to help you do that. Okay. I see everything as perfect already. I find all human beings to be perfected beings of the one. We have amnesia. We forget sometimes. We have the Pineapple Express pouring down on Northern California. Well, crap, the Pineapple Express sounds good. It's one of my favorite strains of cannabis. Yeah, Northern Cali. I want to get to Northern Cali. I want to get up to Big Sur. I want to get up to Joshua Tree. I want to get up to where else? There's some other places I would like to visit up there. More redwoods. We've been to the giant forest to see General Sherman when we were in Southern California. We've been in Southern California twice. But the furthest north I've been has been the giant forest. And the furthest south I've been has been San Diego. Love California, by the way. Not the city so much, but we rent cars and we go driving out in the rural space. And that's fun. Wonderful validation. Absolutely. Thank you. The trigger was necessary. I know that now. Because you're a genius. I know who you are. I know you're who you are. I've known from a while. Mary's the one that cued me in on it. And I knew from right away, I could feel your energy field. I can tell you're a gifted, wonderful person that just, like most of us, has a lot of overlapping, unresolved data. But that's resolving. And now you're growing, and it's amazing to watch all of us change. All of us are changing. I'm changing. You're changing. Brianna's changing. Tom's changing. Everybody's changing. Okay. It's not about the speed. That's where a lot of people get confused. Are you changing? Yeah. Well, why are you sad? Because it's not fast enough. Well, who's saying that? Your ego is saying that. Relax. It's not about how fast we change. It's about changing, going the right direction. Speed is unimportant. Direction is what's important. Yeah. I feel a deeper, compassionate energy off of you, but perhaps it's the deeper compassion that has grown in me, mirroring and recognizing. Right. It's both. So, right. Like I just pointed out, we're both growing. Yes, I definitely have got deeper compassionate because what's happened is just like I was saying, when I first started doing this stuff, I didn't believe in myself. I felt like I was being pushed by my spirit, but Anthony, my ego mind or my character, he's like, I don't know about all this. I don't believe in myself. I don't think I'm good enough. And, and even though I was witnessing miracle after miracle, it was just pointing to the work I need to do. I always need to work. Like I work hard every day. Like I take time every day to work on myself because I have this goal to always just be 1% better. How can I get 1% better? And that means usually letting something go, letting things go. So in that time, since, we've met and all those things, I've changed a whole bunch and I'm going to continue to, because I am becoming more compassionate because I'm not externalizing my value, right? I was externalizing, which most people do, externalizing my value. I was placing my value in the hands of everywhere but me. But now I've understood, and now I understand my value. I'm highly valuable to the world, as we all are. Okay. And now I can accept that. So now I don't have this need to prove myself. Do you know what I mean? Like I used to argue a lot and have to always be right. It still happens. It's just very much less. And I'm aware of it when it's happening. I don't have to be right. All I want to do is agree with whatever your belief system is. I had these ideas before that, like I had to help people develop or change their belief system. I don't. All I have to do is help them change their frequency, and their belief system, which is already malleable, grows on its own. So you're right. You're very intuitive. So it's both of us. You've grown and I've grown. So together, what's happened now? Now we're having an awareness. There's a growing together. We can appreciate each other. I appreciate you and I'm grateful for you. And I'm super grateful for your interaction here. It's fantastic. It gives me chills. It makes me very, very happy. And I appreciate that. I am still manifesting you guys to come to Maine. Don't stop, because I want to come to Maine. I really do. Nardu, hi. Don't you feel when someone does things out of love, it's their love, not the person you are talking to love? Is your love the same as Tom's love? Well, yeah, it's not mine. Okay. So I think it's a misinterpretation of what love is. So love isn't something that I can give or receive, it's something I be. It's a frequency of consciousness, a way of being. So I think maybe I just see it maybe a little bit different than you do. Don't you feel that when someone does things out of love? That's tricky too, because there's lots of people that I know that say, I'm doing this out of love, but they're not doing it out of love. They're doing it out of fear. One has to be very careful. When you're doing it out of love, there's a loving vibration behind it. When you're afraid someone's going to hurt themselves and you're trying to intervene into their life or help re-steer them because you're afraid of what's going to happen, that is born in the vibration of fear and will generate more fear. Okay. But yeah, you're going to say, is my love the same as Tom loves? Yeah, because I am Tom and I am you. There's no separation for me. Okay. So it's all one living energy without separation. Now we do get, like I said, fingers on a hand. I don't consider my finger separate from my body. Is my finger having an experience? Yes. Is this finger having a different experience like you and I? Yes. Are we separate from the one? No. Okay. So yeah. So your experience of what you think love is may not match the other finger's experience of what love is. But that's okay. It's understanding at the deepest level. Love, the thing we've been told is love, is like a Hollywood created idea. This is like romantic love, which is mostly just a chemical reaction of the mind. You know, it's more lust than anything else when it's romantic love. Familial love, a lot of that is entrained upon us, you know, for our kids and for our family and all those things. But true love, true, unconditional love is something that is beyond words and can only be experienced. And so I didn't know, I thought I knew what love was until that one day that I actually experienced it as I connected to the Father or the higher mind. You know, I say these things in different ways and they all mean the same thing to me. The cosmos, the universe, God, the creator, Wirkocha, all those things interchange for me. Subconscious mind. That is my slippery slope. I agree with you. Just 90% of people just do not know true meaning or define love. Right. How do we change that, Nardu? Is what we do is we have to embody that through our Christ consciousness. Christ, that's the second coming of Christ, is the coming of Christ upon us, the Holy Spirit upon us, opening up within us, and then from you can radiate love. This gives other beings the ability to receive your frequency. Just like we were talking about, everyone receives frequency. Some people are numb to it. Some people are open to it. You can't really help people that are numb to it yet. They have to begin to open. So that's why you'll never force anyone to change. If someone's not ready to change, don't push. If someone is ready to change, they'll be in front of you and they'll open up to you. It's from there you radiate your loving kindness. See them as the perfected being that they are. See all humans as the perfected being that they are. For those 90% that you're estimating of people that are cut off from their munai, I was one of them. I couldn't feel love. It was shut off from me because it was protected. I had to protect myself to survive. So I had to shut that part of me off at a very young age. There's a lot of people that happens to. There's a lot of people through their life experience that happens. And I hated people. I didn't trust people. And I hated people. That's what makes this so amazing, my story, because I love everybody. I'm not afraid to talk to people because I'm not worried about the judgment of others because I'm not judging them. That's really where, like, say, anxiety and social anxiety, do you know where that comes from? It comes from your own judgment. That's where it comes from. It comes from our own judgment. It was my judgment that was keeping me, because my judgment, I was assuming that all others judge the way I do. Then I realized it doesn't matter because the judgment isn't about me, right? So there's a big shift that happens if we use our time here to embody that Christ, Christ is love for me. Okay, that's what my understanding and how I understand it. A frequency of consciousness that brings me into loving serenity, where I'm in full acceptance of my reality. I'm not here to resist it. I'm saying that the Father creates only beauty. I don't say there's mistakes or problems. I say all is how it should be, and I can change from within me, because the world that we're perceiving is actually coming from within us. Most people don't like to know that, because then that means that you have to take accountability for everything that's happening. You are. But in your life, we're not meant to be watching the news and worrying about everything that's happening everywhere else. You don't want to spend time giving energy to things you can't change. What can you change? Easily, you. That's what we need to do. I'm constantly trying to change me, become a better absorber and radiator of light or love. And that's how we make that change. That's how we help the people who aren't open yet, is we continue to open, lead by example, let them feel us, see us, sense us. For some people, that will be triggering. They'll be mad at you. They're like, what makes him better than me? You know, people think that all the time about me. You're not better than me. I never said I was. I said I am you. And I'm not better. I am you. I'm not separate from you in any way. I can't be above nor below you, because I am you. And that's the truth. I choose to use my mind and train my mind to see that I am above nor below anyone. I'm not above the homeless man. I'm not below the CEO. We're all part of the one living energy. And that's how we begin to change this place. And then tuning into our own nervous system, continually healing our body, doing these things like I'm teaching, connecting to your vagus nerve. Your vagus nerve is your connection to Christ. Most people don't know that, but that's how you open up into your Christ itself, is attenuating frequency through that vagus nerve. Now you've opened up yourself to the vibration that is all things, the Father. Thank you, Nardu. You opened up a nice channel there. I appreciate that. I do have to get going, but boy, I'm glad I tuned in this morning. I'm glad you did too. This is just what I needed, and I'm stoked to research the HRV and more about autonomic nervous system. Thank you, Mr. Sunshine. Love to you all. A Nike Kuyaki, Cassandra Marie Eichler. I'm grateful for you to be here. And if anybody gets a chance, check out Cassandra's art. She has art. I don't know if she's currently selling it out into the world or anything like that, but she makes some really wonderful things. I have some things here. Actually, Cassandra, you're with me right here. One of these, I don't know if you're here still, but Cassandra made me this little medicine piece, this little pocket stone. And look what's on it. There's a sun on it. This actually goes with me. This is, I hold on to all the things that others give me. People like to give me little things like this. And these mean, I'm about to cry, so much to me. These little gifts, these are just amazing to me. I love all the little things. I get all these amazing little things from other people, and they're great gifts. I love them so much. All right, buddy, I'm at about 1 hour and 8 minutes, so I think I'm going to cut out of here. But before I do, I'm just going to open the floor. Does anyone else have any other questions or anything for today? I'll gladly go into anything else. But as we move into there, I am going to ask you to check out our website. You can book a session. We have a new list of services. So there's a bunch of new services you can check out at thepositivepineapple.org. While you're there, you can help support our mission of healing. If you like what we're doing and like us to continue, please donate a couple dollars. That would be very, very helpful. And I want to thank you all for your generous donations. There's many of you that are very helpful, and I appreciate you all so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you. I think that's the commercial. There are some in-town events coming up, okay? I don't have the list, but what I do want to talk about is the 3 online events that we're doing every week. So every week, as of right now, there's 3 online events, and that is Sunday is meditation. That's in the morning. Sunday at 11 a.m., we do a meditation group. Awesome. It's awesome. Get in that group, okay? Monday is manifestation group at 7 p.m. Tuesday is breathwork and mindset at 7 p.m. So these are all great things. And I'm thinking about putting them together in some sort of a package where people can maybe make it like subscription based. So it can kind of be more affordable for the people who want to do all 3 of these classes weekly, I can put you in like a subscription kind of based thing where you just recycle your payment and it'll cost you less instead of, because I think I asked for $25 to $35 for those. So instead of 75 for all of them, maybe I'll give them for 60, or instead of 90, I'll give 60 or 80, something like that. I can give that sliding scale for that. Next, I am getting ready to set a date for shamanic training, my next level of shamanic training for my people who have graduated the first level. It's going to be a workshop. It's going to be a workshop about soul retrieval. I'm going to do a soul retrieval workshop. That's going to probably be about 4 to 5 hours, and that's going to be $111. 111 is what it's going to be. I do have financial assistance available if anybody needs that. But this will be a deep dive and a deep understanding into soul retrieval. There'll be some initiations involved, some meditation involved, some homework and things involved. But I want to make it a workshop. It'll be a 1-day workshop, and then we'll come back at a not too long later date to have follow-up discussion. Okay. So that's going to be available. Also, anyone that's interested in taking the primary training, that's an 8-week course. It's a once a week meet. There is some work and things to do. It's an 8-week course. If anybody wants to take that, let me know, because I'm about to redesign that. I was doing it like a weekly kind of thing, but I'm going to switch it now and make it more like a course, and you can pay for it up front kind of thing. And we'll go from there. I think that's all I need to discuss currently. Wow, Cassandra, that's really beautiful. Thank you, Lisa. Her artwork is beautiful. I have her sticker. Yay. The online groups are amazing and powerful. I've been to them a couple times. Yeah, so let's try to get more people. Please invite more people. Please share. Please share. Talk about the positive pineapple. Make a post. If you got something from what we're doing, if you like what we're doing, make a post, tell more people about what we're doing, because that's how people find out about us. I can do all of the ads and all the campaigning I want to do, but if you're not talking, you're not helping. All right. I need you to talk to other people who are in your reality, that are looking for change, looking for knowledge, looking for wholesome spiritual community. This is the place to go. That's what we got here. This is a beautiful spiritual community. I love this global community, and it just excites me so much for us to be together and for us to do the work together. I think that's it. I think I'm going to cut that off there. Check out the episode of SOAR, SOAR. Come soar with us, myself and Don Zane Kirkman. We had a really nice conversation yesterday about the Inca religion. The one before that is about the Inca Empire. Also, check out the new video on the YouTube, okay? I'm going to post it later today and make a post about it. But there's a new video, and it's breath and movement. It's a nervous system reset, okay? I want you to check that out. I want you to make some comments, and then maybe bring back your experience about that on Tuesday, because I'll be back on Tuesday. I'll be back here Tuesday for the next episode of Ask the Shaman. I'm Anthony Golden Sunshine. I just want to send my loving, loving wish out to all of you. I just want all of you to become the greatest, most happiest, most healthiest and free being that you can be. And I pray for that for you, and I hope that you pray for that for me. And I want to remind you that it's together that we make miracles. And I'm so proud of you. Hey, let me see. Tachi said something. Hi, Tachi. Tachi Navarro says, one challenge I've had since shamanic training ended was being in practice. Yeah, that's most people. Having it weekly kept me in habit. The ending caused me to visit my habits and discipline and do it in my on. Definitely it on the upcoming soul retrieval. Good. So Tachi, how you can help yourself is you want to get into one of the other 3 groups I'm offering every week. This is perfect for shamanic training because we're getting in there and we're connecting and using our shamanic tools in these sessions. Now, not the people who haven't had the training. So the people who haven't had the training, and there's people that are new that come in, I guide them in a specific way. But the other ones of us who are shamans, I guide us in another way, which helps us to expand the shamanic connection. So my advice would be for you to get into those, because then that can help you stay accountable. Okay. At least one of them, if you could, all three of them, because they're very powerful things. Everyone needs that meditation group, because you can meditate all you want by yourself. That's great that you do that. When you meditate in a group, it amplifies the energy, and that grows the shamanic muscle. You get what I'm saying? The connection to the energy, to the frequency, to the spirit around you. Manifestation. You can do a lot of work manifesting on this by the self, but it's so much more powerful if you have a group, because it amplifies the frequency. Because what is manifestation? Sending out a frequency to retrieve the frequency, matching the frequency of that you wish to generate, create, or experience in your life. And then third, breath and mindset. Very, very powerful. I love shamanic breathing in a group. Very, very awesome. So I recommend those. Okay, I'll check them out. I understand. More powerful together. Absolutely. It compounds the energy. All right, buddy. I hope you have a beautiful day. Have a beautiful weekend. Happy February. Can you believe it's February? I heard a lot of people complaining like January was long. Like it was January 84th. It didn't feel long to me. It all flew by. Time flies by. Time keeps on slipping into the future. I love you all so much. I hope you have a beautiful day, and I'll see you later. Bye-bye.